All right, how's it going? This is jermevs. We're going to talk about my 2019 Tesla Model 3 long-range all-wheel drive. It's got 80,000 miles on it. So let's talk about, my time with it. Is there any issues, any maintenance issues that's popped up? I keep doing these reviews every 5,000 to 10,000 miles. So hit that subscribe button so you'll see when we do new ones, the notification button. Like the video, it helps out a lot. So let's talk about this now. This Tesla Model 3 has 80,000 miles on it, and it's about 5 years old. So we got it in October of 2019. It's a 2019 model built in Fairmont, California at Tesla's original plant. And as you can see, I haven't washed this thing. It's been storming. It's pretty dirty. I do have my second, or technically my third set of tires on it that I just got yesterday. Yokohama's Advanced Sports AS. All right, and then I've got paint protection film on the front of the car that's kept it nice and safe during a lot of travel on the interstate. So real quick, let's talk about some of the issues I've had with this car. I've talked about it in all the reviews, but really the only things I've had is there was a issue with the front control arm squeaking. They repaired that under good faith at Tesla. They went ahead and did both sides. They should do that if you have that. That is a known issue with these early Model 3s and the Model Ys as well. And they do a revision change to the repair part and they swap it in with that. I haven't had any issues since then. I've had the FM radio broke very early on, within first 10,000 miles, I think. And I go through a list of these in my 75,000 mile review. So if you want to see a little bit more details, you can go back to that as far as costs and everything. Maintenance, really, I go through this a little bit of detail. Hasn't changed a lot since 75,000 miles, but maintenance is really simple. It's windshield wiper blades. It's windshield wiper fluid, which I really don't replace very often because I don't use it much. It doesn't snow here and you don't need it that often. So I've changed that like once, refilled it, I guess you'd say. So mostly windshield wiper blades once a year because we do get a bunch of storms. And then tires, I'm on my third set of tires. So the first set that came with the factory were Michelin's. They lasted till 43,000 miles. And then I bought Yokohama Advanced Sports ATS or AS, just like I just got again, at 43,000 miles, and those lasted until 80,500 miles. A little bit less than the Michelin's, but I will say I could have had those tires a lot longer. They still had a decent tread on it. I actually got a refund or a discount on my new tires because they were still within the tread specification, but I had 3 repairs from nails. Those tires have had, all 4 of them had nails in them at some point in time where Discount Tire patched them for free. I had 2 tires that had patches that were failing, and the only option was to replace the tire or keep refilling them with air. So I've been refilling them with air for the last 4 months, and then I just finally got another nail in the tire, and I said it's time to actually buy new tires. Did that. I got about $250 discount because those tires were still in life. So these tires are really good, and I expect them really to last the warranty of 45,000 miles. So I should be good on tires until the motor and battery warranty is up, which is 120,000 miles. I'll be getting new tires. So driving the Model 3 after 80,000 miles feels fantastic. It feels basically the same way the car felt when it was brand new. Now, I did get the front suspension joints replaced around 45,000 miles. So in actuality, those suspension components are about the same age as they were then. But other than that, I just got some new tires, and the car rides very similar to how the brand new redesigned Model 3 long-range all-wheel drive drove when I test drove that. Some other things to note about the Model 3 long range, even after high mileage, is it's really quiet. The early model years did not get the double paned glass, and as you can tell, it's very silent. Even on the interstate, it's fairly quiet. Now, that's not to say it's more quiet or as quiet as the newer cars that have the double pane glass, because it's not. Our Model Y is much quieter. It's also much smoother in the Model Y. But the Tesla Model 3 drives wonderful. You've got 3 options for your steering feel. You can do a sports feel, so it feels really, really tight, and you jerk the wheel or turn the wheel and you can really feel the pressure against your wheel. And then there's a standard mode, which is what I drive in the car. And then you have a comfort steering mode that basically makes it so it feels more like you're driving an SUV, I'd say, if I had to compare it to anything, or a truck. It turns really light. You don't feel a lot of it at all on your hands. Some other things to think about with the driving. 80,000 miles, this car's really, I mean, like I said, it drives very similar to how it did day one. There are some rattles, but my car personally does not have a whole lot of rattles. There's one up here in this area, and all you do is you basically push this like that, and it kind of tightens that up, and it goes away. And that comes, every now and then. Sometimes when it's really hot, I'd get a sound in my dashboard up in the front left. That's been happening almost since I've had the car, and it has not gotten worse per se. So, these are things that I find interesting about this car. Software updates, I'm still getting software updates. My car's not the latest. It can't get the new UI that I've shown in some videos with our Model Y because it does not have the AMD Ryzen chip into it. Instead, we have got the old Intel Atom chip, but it's still fairly fast, not as fast, but it's really fast. It's going to be faster than if you were to buy a brand new Ford, for example. It's probably faster than that. If you bought a brand new Mercedes or any of these cars, the Tesla software and computer hardware from 2019 is going to be nicer. So if you're looking at buying a Model 3 used, there shouldn't be too many concerns other than if it was abused, which is the same thing that you would have to, question if you were buying a used gasoline car. You're going to do an inspection on it, or you're going to test drive it, and there's going to be some things that you have to look out for. These days, a lot of people don't know what they're looking out for with a used gasoline car, so it doesn't really make the bar too different when you're in terms of looking at a used EV. So, as far as the Tesla Model 3 goes, driving, it feels great. Take it for a test drive. If you don't hear any loud noises, if you don't hear any, the steering wheel is not bouncing around, right? It should be pretty smooth on the steering wheel. Now, if you have older tires on the car, you may get a little bit more motion in the steering wheel, but it should drive straight. It should, when you let off the wheel, it should drive fairly straight, right? Down the highway. I haven't touched it, and I'm not, it's not on autopilot. It should not have a bounce to the steering wheel. You should not feel any type of large bumping in the throttle or on the accelerator pedal. So when you put your foot on the accelerator, there may be a little bit of some, knocking or whatever. That's okay. That's typically the tires or the road, but you shouldn't have anything large and that is very repeatable. And for example, like you don't want to see that. So if you're looking at a car, you'll probably want to make sure that you test the brakes. You don't have to go full send on stopping on the brakes or anything, but just use the brakes, act the friction brakes, so you'll actually, instead of just all of the regenerative braking, put your foot on the brake and actually see how it feels. Roll the windows down while you do it if you can, and that way you can listen to see if there's any screeching to the brakes. If there is screeching, that's fixable. That just means it needs brakes. But that's something I would look at. Steering, make sure that it feels good while you steer. You don't have any crazy stuff. I would go low speed while you're steering and just kind of listen to the car. Make sure it doesn't have any large creaks. Some other things with the EV that you want to test drive, or when you do a test drive, is you're going to want to actually make sure the regenerative braking is working well. Things like that. Check the battery life. You can go into service mode. I'll show you how to do that, and actually look and see how the voltage is. Plug it in. I would recommend taking it and plugging it into a level 1 charger, a level 2 charger, 220, as well as going in high putting it on a supercharger and make sure there's no issues with the high voltage or high current charging. And those are the big things I would check. Everything else is going to be like your standard car, right? You're going to just make sure everything else is okay. Those are the big things that you're going to check. It's not a lot. It's really not. I don't see a lot of other issues. You'll want to check the range of the car, make sure it's not crazy out of board. The best way to do that, honestly, is to look at the consumption. That's not going to tell you the battery pack stuff, but what you could do is you can kind of compare it to what the estimated range is. But you can also do battery health in the service mode and take a look at that. So, yeah, other than that, this isn't too long of a review. Just a quick update on the Tesla Model 3 long range, all-wheel drive. And, you know, if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. It helps out the channel so much. Subscribe. I'd love to see more subscribers so you see when I'm actually posting new videos on these cars, as well as our 2023 Model Y and any other EV news that's coming out in the world. I keep up with it. We'll talk to you on the next one.